All right, so Roger writes in. He likes the my videos on Wellesley Income Fund. He had thought about doing an annuity, but now he's not so sure if he should do that at all. Why not just throw it all into Wellesley? So I don't know how old Roger is. I don't know what his circumstances are. It sounds like he's a conservative-minded investor. And he sounds like he's trying to, he's seeing that annuities aren't paying very much right now. So he thinks Wellesley might be a better alternative. He doesn't say if he's looking at an income annuity or a fixed annuity, and heaven forbid a variable annuity. He just says he was looking at annuity and now he's thinking maybe just go all in with Wellesley. All right, let's just assume it's a fixed annuity. Yeah, we'll just go with that. All right, so look, I don't know anything about Roger. I just don't know. My inclination is right now the fixed annuities aren't worth it either. And when I say either, I just did a video on income annuities. I'm not a fan of them at all. I mean, look, I'm not one of these anti-annuity Ken Fisher guys. And it's just silly to say, all annuities are evil. Dumb, don't do that. But I don't think they play a role, income annuities in particular right now, because you don't make any money for about 20 years. It takes about 20 years just to break even. Right. And you don't have any liquidity in that 20-year time. So I'd rather just put it in a money market account, or me, the Ginnie Mae, at least get a little bit of yield. You have liquidity as well. And if you need, $10,000 a year, you take $10,000 a year out of. Next year you only need 8, you only take 8. The following year you need 12, you take 12. It's the liquidity that counts more so than guaranteed income, which isn't going to give you any profit until you survive 20 years or so. So it's just not worth it to me. Fixed annuity is a little bit different. I'm going to assume they're paying 2. I don't even think they're paying 2, man. I was looking at USA, a couple weeks ago, and they're only paying 1%. But let's just assume they're paying 2%. All right. Now, a lot of fixed annuities, you got a 7-year surrender charge. Could be 5, could be 10, but we'll just use a 7-year surrender charge. So let's just say you got 2% yield. And I'm just going to use some simple interest because I can't do compounding on top of my head. So 2% yield. You're locking in $100,000. You only have access to 10% of that each and every year until year 8 when the thing's fully liquid. You're not getting any more. You're not getting any less than the 2%. So we know for a fact the max amount of money you're going to get, or the minimum amount of money you're going to get either way, is $14,000. Again, that's simple interest. I'm not compounding it. So you got $100,000. The first year you're getting $2,000, so $102. Next year you're getting $2,000, $104, $106, all the way up until the end of year 7 when you have $114,000. No downside risk. Limited liquidity in that you can only have access to 10% a year without a surrender charge. That's actually more than I think a lot of people give it credit to. A lot of people think those annuities are completely locked down. It's simply not true. The vast majority of time in my career, when people need access to the annuity, 10% worked just fine. However, and sometimes you need more. You want to buy that boat for $50,000. It's going to cost you, we'll just use a 7% surrender charge on any amount above the 10% you take out. So again, if you have $100,000 in the annuity, you have access to 10% a year. And it's not cumulative either. It's each year. So you have access to $10,000 without penalty. The next $40,000 you need will be subject to 7% penalty, which is $2,800. See what I'm saying? So all that for getting $14,000 guaranteed over the next 7 years, that doesn't sound very attractive to me at all. Now, there is no downside risk other than the solvency of the insurance company. But, man, I don't know. The Wellesley, on the other hand, is liquid. All right, so you have access to your money whenever you want, but the drawback is the Wellesley does have downside risk. In 2008, the Wellesley was down 10%. That's a fact. I don't know what Wellesley was down this last go around, but it does have, come on, buddy, 25 to 35% in stocks. So because it has exposure to stocks, inherently the stock market took it down some. Now the bonds didn't give it much of a reprieve, because the bond market while the treasuries did pretty well, corporate bonds also got knocked around some too, simply because the way the markets are about bonds being, people worried about the bonds going kaput. So it's a tough one there. There is no guarantee in Wellesley Income Fund. There is a guarantee in fixed annuity. There is no guarantee in, there is no liquidity in fixed annuity. There is liquidity in Wellesley Income Fund. There is upside in Wellesley Income Fund, but there's downside too. Is it worth it? I personally think so. I'd rather have Wellesley Income Fund than a fixed annuity or an income annuity right now. 90 times out of 100 for sure. Is it worth it for Roger? Man, I don't know. I would say probably, but without knowing anything else, it's hard for me to say. But if I had to choose one and you put a gun to my head, it'd be Wellesley for sure. Hope this helps. Thanks.